Wishing HBD after cutting off. I, F25, had a very good friend in my previous job. We would work together and had hung outside office to grab coffee, tea, team outings. A couple of times over the past 1 year, he, M27, began to have feelings for me. I have been in a relationship with another guy for the last 8 years, but we were long distance at the moment. I had been trying to get a job closer to my partner. When I told my partner, they were understandably insecure about the situation, especially when we met outside office. I reassured them that I will keep my distance, but after this I still hung out with them too, 3 times over the next few months, because they were one of my closest friends. I was trying to keep my relationship and the friendship both, but it wasn't working out and my partner was impacted. I got another job which paid more and allowed me to be in the same state as my partner. I decided to move. My friend was obviously sad about the situation. He didn't come to office on my last day of work, so I met him once before I left for my new job. We went skating and had lunch. My partner was very uncomfortable with the friendship now and wanted to break up. I reassessed the situation and cut off from my friend right around the time that I left my hometown. I moved and we began to patch our relationship. The sad part is that I had to lose one of my best friends to them having strong feelings for me. It is their B-Day today, and I'm blocked everywhere except a payment app. The friend had said once previously that I should text there if we ever block each other. Should I wish him HBD? Aida for telling my parents that I'd call CPS if they don't put my sister in rehab at 18. Went back home for the first time since leaving for college and found out that my sister, 15, is on drugs. I made a way longer post about it if anyone wants more info. I wasn't going to stay in town for that long at first, but I've been staying because my sister needs help. Our mom is basically in denial that it's gotten that bad and has been indulging her at some points. And our dad is a hard ass that doesn't believe in rehab therapy because she needs to get over it. We have a family history of drug and alcohol addiction as well as mental illness, which I think is a big factor for her. I tried to get them to understand that we can't just wait for this to go away because they've already done that with my other older sister and some of my step-siblings, and it didn't work. And when the topic of money came up, I told them I understood that we never had much, especially after they divorced, but I had money I'd saved for college. I'm on a scholarship and have a job, so I haven't used it. That would be enough to put her through rehab, and they still wouldn't listen to me. I've tried everything to get them to understand that ignoring the problem hasn't ever worked in the past. Telling her to get over it won't help her realize why she feels like she needs drugs. Trying to talk to her isn't working. And if they kept doing this, we could lose her forever, but they wouldn't budge. This where I got pretty mean and think I was TA. I brought up my mom's drug alcohol addiction. She's almost 5 years sober. I told her things I remember about her when she was using, and I yelled at her about something that had happened that was traumatic for both of us, and how much it affected me, and that I won't let the same happen to my baby sister. I told them that if they didn't get her in rehab, I'd call CPS and tell them everything. There was a lot of stuff that happened in my childhood, and still happening now with my little sister and my younger step-siblings. They said fine, but I was paying for it, and my dad said he was done with me. He basically has been for a long time, so that didn't bother me. And my mom has been distant with me ever since I'm now working on getting her into rehab. And I have a friend that is helping me make sure she doesn't OD or go to jail in the meantime, and I'm glad she'll get help that she needs. But I feel horrible about some of the things I said to my parents, especially my mom. I understand why she doesn't want to accept that my sister's using and needs more help than we can give her. But I don't see any other way for her to finally understand. I'm a really bad overthinker, so some of this might not be my fault, but I also feel like I was being pretty mean. Plus, I could really use some advice on how to get my sister to recognize that she needs help. Aida for refusing to help my ex-wife and insulting her daughter, okay? So I'm going to need to give some backstory. So about when I was 25, I divorced my ex-wife. I'll call her Jessie. We divorced mostly because she suffered from addiction and it started affecting me. Anyways, about 6 years later, Jessie shows up at my door with a 5-year-old daughter who we'll call Carla. Well, turns out, when me and Jessie were divorcing, she was pregnant with my kid. She decided it was best not to tell me or anyone during the divorce. So Jessie came to my door looking for me to take her and my daughter back. I took Jessie into a room and had a discussion where she claimed she was sober. I learned that was a lie later, and she just wanted to be a happy family. I told her that if she didn't hide this kid from me during the divorce, I would have stayed, but I'm not going to take her back now. She screamed and called me a monster and ran out with her and her daughter. And here's the crazy part. She actually left and stayed gone. It was a surprise to me. Well, anyways, I followed Carla on Facebook when she got older and learned she had a son. About 15 years after the first incident, Carla came back to my door, where me and my wife live, and told me to meet my grandson. I very calmly told her to get off my property and that we might be blood related, but I don't see her as a daughter. After I said that, she yelled at me saying, "Can you just be a father for once and help her with her son?" I told her that I was no ver her father and never will be, so get off my property. Real quick, because this will lead in her mother had told her when she was younger that I was with her for her first couple of years, they abandoned them. Don't know why she said that. But anyways, she screamed saying I'm a monster for not remembering the first years of her life because she thought I was there at that time. After that, I was pretty confused. But I explained to her about how the story really went. She told me what her mom told her, then she left understanding my side. Now this part's kind of sad, but about 2 years after Carla came to my door, I opened it and she fell in my arms crying, I guess. After the last conversation, she gained a really bad alcohol addiction, and she crashed her car, drunk with her son in it, and he didn't make it. I did help her because she was in a really low place at the time. I helped her get through it and put her in rehab, but she never forgave herself. Okay, and here's the big part. About 3 years after that, Carla came to my door and gave me the big problem, and that's Jesse is sick. Carla came to my door asking for help because no one in that family is doing well financially. So she came to me asking for help. I told her no, and she said that she thought I was over all of this because I helped her in her lowest moment, and now Jesse needs help. She told me Jesse's addiction was killing her and the treatment was expensive. I told her no a second time, and she said that I was a nonster for not forgiving her mom's past and helping her. Here's where I may be the a-hole. I said, "So you're saying that if you could talk to your son, he would forgive you for getting him killed?" She seemed and said that I have no idea what her life was like and that I have no right to judge. After that, she left. The next day, she came BQCC asking for a donation to help with her mom's treatment. So I gave her $1 and said, "That's a donation," and shut the door in her face. Now my wife and kids think I'm a horrible human being, and I'm sleeping on the couch while my wife and I work things out. So Aida for not helping my ex-wife and insulting her daughter. If I leave my forever partner because he refuses to make it official, he calls me his wife and I'm pretty much an equal in his business, but he still refuses to recognize it legally. I, 41F, and my fiance, 64M, have been together 11 years, engaged for 1.5, and we're still no closer to getting married. When I first met him, his trucking business was in its early stages. His original partner started it with him, but after a disagreement left him unceremoniously to his own devices, and it was pretty obvious they thought he would fail. I jumped in pretty quickly and started organizing routes and training new staff. They were probably 10 months old at that time, and it was clear the ex-partner thought he wouldn't hash it. Well, here I am, 7 years later, not really sure why I spent all this time making him successful, and he keeps beating around the bush, because, I might be entitled to some of this business I helped him build. He got burned in his last divorce, and it took him years to recover. So even though I am his partner now, day in and day out, and have shown him this, he's worried that it will all happen again. So should I stay or should I go? It's not so much about the business for me this far in. We work together, we build together. And after 7 years in the trenches with him, I have real life skills that I can build my own business on. But he's going to be retirement age next year, and I'm not. Honestly, the business is not really liquid, even though he keeps insisting that it's worth so much. As his not wife and not business partner, if he got hit by a bus tomorrow, I wouldn't have any access to the business accounts to keep them running for our 15 staffers, and I'd probably have to call his sister for medical POA. I've explained this clearly, and somehow that's a me problem.